kid that did. Mr. Lonely Stone and Mr. Watch How I Do It is back at your service. So now, we spoke about night one of WrestleMania. And today is Tuesday, so we already had Raw after WrestleMania as well, which was actually almost better than night one of WrestleMania, which is kind of crazy to say. But we gonna get into all that. You feel me? Let's get into WrestleMania night two. See what was going on. We still gonna rock with Bleacher Report. Get their full on grades and whatnot, and kind of go from there for real, for real. So let's see what we got going. First of all, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, notification bell as well. Shout out to everybody that subscribed to the channel. Appreciate y'all. Hope everybody's doing well out there. But yeah, let's get straight into it, man. So Sunday's card for WrestleMania. Just gonna go down a list of matches that we had. We had AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Randy Orton versus his surprise opponent. Sin City Street Fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, which was pretty damn good, I will say. The Women's Tag Team Championships with Becky Lynch coming out to help Lyra against Liv Morgan and Raquel. I really think they should have kept... Well, we'll get into that. I ain't going to go too early. Fatal four-way match for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker, Penta, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. Triple threat for the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair. And then, of course, the main event, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. So I'm just going to automatically come out and say, I think night two was definitely better than night one. A lot more excitement, a lot more fluid matches, a lot more consistency throughout the night, shall I say. If you don't agree, drop in the comments how y'all feel, let me know. But I definitely think it was a lot more fluidness to the wrestling, to the night itself, as far as what was going on throughout the matches, between the matches, and everything like that as well. So we're gonna get into it, man. Let's see what's going on. All right, so the first match we have here is the women's triple threat match. Now, I didn't know who may come out with the dub on this one. With the way they let Rhea Ripley come out last was something different because she's not the champion. But she is the fan favorite. I feel like that was kind of disrespectful to Io Sky's championship run so far, and just her being the champion in general. Usually the champion comes out last because they're not the challenger. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of weird to see that. I'm not sure what was the logic behind that and everything, but nonetheless, it was a phenomenal match, a great match. I was very interested in it, in tune. Let's go to the top moments and takeaways before we go to the grade. So top moments and takeaways were absolutely deafening pop for Riley offset the loud chorus of boos for Belair, which was definitely interesting to see because she actually won. She actually won her match to earn her spot in the WrestleMania championship match. Rhea Ripley kind of just barged her way in more so than anything because she had lost the title. So it was kind of, I understand where they were coming from, but it was definitely weird for the fans to turn on Bianca like that. Now, they gave a lot of love after. If you see any of the videos or anything like that that happened, she was getting love from the fans after the cameras went off. But during the match, she was definitely getting heavily booed. They really didn't want to see too much from her as far as her being dominant in the match or winning. So it was kind of weird. Sky set out to prove early on she was not going to be an afterthought in this match, which I think she absolutely did. She had some great spots in the match, did her thing, made sure she wasn't, like they said, an afterthought. And you kind of seen the tide turn where as though the fans actually wanted her to retain that title. But I think as fans, we kind of know that the next rivalry is going to be, well, not next rivalry, but the rivalry is still going to be between her and Rhea because Rhea wants the championship back. So I'm not sure how they're going to unfold everything that's happening, especially with how Raw went, which we'll talk about a little later. But yeah, that was definitely interesting to see and great to see as well to make sure that she, stated her claim basically in the match for real. Rhea Ripley delivered a razor's edge to Sky, tossing her into Belair. There was many justified "this is awesome" chants, which I totally agree with. Every time they actually said it was very warranted. Sky used an arm drag to counter a superb riptide from the top rope. She missed the moonsault and Belair delivered a kiss of death, but Ripley broke it up at 2. Excuse me. Now, the way this match ended with Sky getting the victory, I think if I'm not mistaken, she jumped off the top rope and landed on one of them. I think she landed on both of them actually to get the dub, but she pinned one of them. But it was great to see that. Bianca used her hair, of course. That thing sounds like slavery. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit sound like you whipping a slave. Goddamn it, that shit is crazy how that sounds. So I know Rhea Ripley was hurt after that. She did come out of Raw. She did show her face on Raw and everything like that. So she did have a black eye. Not sure from what moment she got that black eye, but she had no face paint or nothing like that on that side. So it must have definitely been bothering her at that point. Bleacher Report gave this an A plus. I cannot disagree. I think this was, if anything, the only thing you can downgrade it for is that it should have just been a Bianca Belair and Io Sky match. But without that, would it be an A plus really? I know some people might want to do it, or some people might say it could have been a better matchup with just Io and Rhea. But speak how you feel in the comments. I'm definitely open to hear what y'all thoughts are on that. But A plus was a grade that they gave him. I definitely agree with that. Great match. Way to start the night and everything like that. So I have no problems with that at all. The Sin City Street fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, I felt was a little short. I definitely felt like it was a little short. I'm just kind of going to read kind of what they said here. This was another action-packed match. At the top of Sunday's show, it appropriately conveyed the hatred between the competitors without taking things too far into the realm of violence. It worked. The crowd appreciated it. No, excuse me. It worked. The crowd appreciated it. And we had a second great match, which is something Saturday never quite strung together, which I agree with again. So, McIntyre finally got his big stage win against Priest without doing anything to jeopardize that win or to jeopardize his success of the win. Because usually he does something that's not paying attention, just being stupid, or I'm not sure if it's part of the gimmick or not, but it seems like when he does something well, something bad has to follow for him. So it was good to see him get the dub. But I really think that match should have been longer. I'm not sure how long the match was in its entirety, but it felt it was a lot of action, definitely action packed, but it still felt like it was a little like 10 minutes short. I say they could have went 7 to 10 minutes longer. I think they would have elevated that match way higher than what they are currently at in my book. So we're gonna go to the top moments and takeaways. Yep. Kerry King of Slayer played Damian Priest to the ring in one of the coolest entrances in WrestleMania history. Damian Priest's entrance was cool. For some reason, his entrance and his attire is not something I'm a fan of. I'd rather see that nigga in street clothes so he can just come out there and fight. That's the Damian Priest I like to see, I ain't gonna lie. McIntyre continued his trend of live tweeting during Mania, taking his phone from his brother and commenting on the contest. Still bored at work is a crazy tagline for that. That's a crazy tweet to say. If you would have lost, that would have been crazier. I think the fans would have enjoyed it if he'd lost, because then they got something to talk about. But it was pretty good. If y'all haven't seen it, definitely log on to his Twitter, or you can find it online as well if you search WrestleMania. But yeah, the second Razor's Edge of the night saw Priest drive McIntyre from the ropes and through an announce table. That's when things start getting good. When he went through the announce table, and then also there was a spot of which is actually next. Priest attempted the old school, a la the Undertaker, but McIntyre shoved him from the top rope and through two tables set up at ringside. Honestly, I forgot the tables were there. I was actually scared for Drew McIntyre because of the way he fell and how high he was. He's a tall dude. So with him falling that far, I'm thinking he's falling to the ground. I thought it was about to be a wrap at that point. But he fell through the tables, which still was amazing. Got some holy shit chants. This is awesome chants. Well deserved, I think, for that one. Um, Bleacher Report gave us a B plus. I'll give it a B minus. I'll give it a B minus. Like I said, I think it could have been a B plus if the match was 7 to 10 minutes longer, to be honest. That's all it probably needed to actually elevate that. I just felt like they kind of sold themselves short a little bit on that. I'm not sure if it's because of the time constraints of other matches that were ahead of them or after them, shall I say. But it was one of those doozies. It was a good match, but I definitely felt like it could have been longer. So let's move on to the Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship. And also, shout out to my homeboy Swift. He predicted the whole night. The only thing he didn't get right is the who would face Randy Orton part. He literally told me who he thought was gonna win each match, and it happened. It literally happened. So that was crazy to me. I kept asking him like, who did you talk to? Like, it was kind of weird. It was weird. But the Fatal 4-Way match for the Intercontinental Championship, Dominic Mysterio won his first Intercontinental Championship, defeating Judgment Day teammate Finn Balor, Penta, and Braun Breaker, the former Intercontinental Champion, in a Fatal 4-Way. For the third straight contest, fans were treated to an action-packed match devoid of rest spots, which I agree with. It was, like I said, it was consistent, it was fluid, it was what you would want WrestleMania matches to be. So that's why I really appreciated night two, because like I said, it was banger after banger after banger. You know what I'm saying? So Braun Breaker showed out tossing his opponents around the ring with reckless abandon, while Penta Shine and the dissension between Balor and Mysterio fueled the match's narrative, which I definitely agree with as well. So I think that's well written. Ultimately, it was the Judgment Day teammates who defined the closing moments after an enormous spear from Breaker to Carlito through the announce table, which was crazy. I thought Braun Breaker was going to hurt himself. I honestly thought Braun was going to hurt himself. I did not expect him to pull that move off, because usually it's like he does the running spear around the ring and everything like that. This one was just, I'm going to jump from this table to that table, and you're getting speared. Happened, they broke the table. Great spot, great part of the match. Second later, oh, I skipped ahead, my bad. Through the announce table and Balor's coup de grace to the champion, Mysterio seized opening and produced a frog splash. Seconds later, he pinned Balor and won the title, drawing a surprisingly large pop from the fans. Yes, he's one of the biggest heels of all time, but also, yes, he's one of the most loved wrestlers in today's WWE. So I wasn't too surprised when you heard fans screaming and cheering for him and everything like that. So it was definitely great to see. I think it was well deserved. I didn't want to see Balor win it. Balor, I didn't want to see win it. Penta, I don't think has been in the WWE long enough for a championship run just yet. He needs a little bit more steam, in my opinion. But Braun Breaker and Mysterio was the only two options that I could have seen happening as far as the title goes. So I'm happy that they did grant Mysterio that dub and everything like that. Let's go down some of the top moments and takeaways here. Um, Bale and Mysterio did not enter in unified Judgment Day colors. Instead, the former sported yellow with a matching entrance video, while the latter opted for blue, perhaps planting the seeds for an inevitable split. I just want to say Finn Balor's entrance was trash. That shit was ass, to be honest with you. It looked like he just put a yellow bag over his head with yellow gloves. You couldn't really see. And then Mysterio had the tightest of luchador mask on that was all white, and he had a hard trouble getting that off. So I don't know. I don't know if that's was their idea, Triple H's idea. Next time, work on it, practice it before y'all actually do it, because it don't seem like neither one of y'all thought that out too much. Breaker manhandled fools in this match. It was a total showcase for the Intercontinental Champion. Mysterio attempted a 619, but Bela caught him and stomped a hole in him. I definitely wanted that 619 to happen, but Bela's a very smart individual, smart wrestler. Of course, he countered. Carlito interfered multiple times, including pulling Breaker to the floor. Breaker ran off of one announce table and drove Carlito through the other in yet another breathtaking moment of this broadcast. Now, I think this match has a lower grade than I would give it. And this is probably the first time in the first two nights of me recapping that I felt that way. This one is a B as far as Bleacher Report's grade go. I think it was a B+. I was engaged the whole time. I love the narrative. I like how they did everything. It came together well for a match. And JD McDonough, was that? Oh, getting ahead of myself. Sorry about that. Getting ahead of myself. But yeah. But if you watch Raw, you know where I was going. But yeah, that was a great match in my eyes. I think it was a B+ instead of a B. But I'm not mad at them giving it a B, neither, to be honest with you. So drop in the comments so far how y'all feel about the grades and what y'all think of those matches and everything like that. I definitely want to hear y'all thoughts on those and see what y'all are feeling. Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry. It was good to see him out there on the WrestleMania stage. He did show up at Royal Rumble as well, so it seemed like this is a recurring theme, whereas though they're trying to get him more exposure to the WWE fan base overall. But TNA has a great product as well. I just want to shout them out and let them know that as well for those who haven't been too in tune with it. Myself, just to be honest with you, myself have not been completely in tune, but I know a couple of their big players and everything like that. So it's good to always see them cross-brand and cross-reference each other and stuff of that nature. But this was more so just something that has the fans see and cheer on Randy Orton for real. Like, it's been 20 years, I think. Not 20 years. Yeah, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, that he's been in consistent WrestleManias. So it's kind of, that was kind of tough. I think that's what they were planning to do at that point, is just kind of honor Randy Orton for all his accomplishments to WrestleMania, to the industry, to the business. And we didn't really know where the match was going to go. This came to a C for the grade. I actually agree with that just because it wasn't a long match at all. Nothing big happened. Mostly for the surprise is why Bleacher Report gave their grade a C. That's probably why I would give it a C too, just to be honest. The fans were definitely in tune because it was both of those superstars involved. But nothing too much happened. The pop for Hendry reveal was otherworldly. This is their words. I wouldn't even said that, but that's what they said. As if beating him in a few minutes wasn't bad enough, Orton dropped the TNA champ with a second RKO. Now, would have put this match in a little bit more of a grade is if we can get that old Randy Orton that really hears the voices, which I think is about to happen. I think he's about to go on one of them type of runs. But we didn't get that banging on the mat, pulling on the ropes and everything like that. Like he's really hearing those voices and then he just jumps into an RKO. It was more so strategic. We kind of knew it was coming. Wasn't too unpredictable more so. So like I said, it was a cool thing that happened more so during that time. So let's go to the next one. Drop in the comments how y'all feel about that surprise, and if y'all loved it, if y'all hated it, let me know. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Now, I will be honest with you, this was one of the matches that I missed. I'm not sure why. I'm just not a big AJ Styles fan, nor am I a big Logan Paul fan. So this match really didn't do anything for me. I wasn't really wanting to see it. It wasn't in tune. I've probably seen a couple things happen throughout the match, but I wasn't like fully watching it and everything like that. So whatever they gave it, I can't even really give it an honest grade, so I wouldn't even lie to y'all like that. They gave it a C+. If a C+ is what they gave it, we're going to go with a C+. I'm going to go down the top moments and takeaways from it. Despite the mediocre to bad backstory, which I agree with as well, this one presented as a big deal as the bell rang. I think that was poorly worded. Michael Cole shouted out Fit Finlay on commentary as Styles pulled a page from his book, catching Paul up in the ring apron and pounding away at him. Paul, a master troll, utilized Hulk Hogan taunts to rile up the crowd. The YouTuber delivered the best lion salt we may have ever seen. Like him or not, that was impressive and spot on. Now, excuse me. I will give Logan Paul this. He's probably one of the best athletes in the WWE right now. There's not a lot of athletes, as far as some of the older athletes when they were young or the younger athletes now, that can do what he does in that ring. He's very athletic, very daring, daredevilish, doesn't really care. He wants to wrestle. He wants to prove that he can actually do this and be a big part of the business. So you got to give him respect for that, which I definitely do. Let's move on to Women's Tag Team Championship. This one was interesting, but I felt like it was I felt like they did Bayley wrong, man. This definitely should have been Bayley in that match, but supposedly she was injured, everything like that. We're gonna read what they say here. What they say. Lynch is a beloved star and was rightfully cheered on her comeback, but there is a real argument to be made that nothing about this match did anything for anyone except for her. I agree. Now, I was hyped when she came out, but only because I didn't expect it. You know what I'm saying? As the match continued and you get to the ending of it, it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense. For Carrie Harley Shine, the recipient of the heat spot, while the champions were tackling buddies for Lynch in the closing moments, the man had her triumphant return and basked in the audience of the crowd. But this felt as though it served one instead of all four, which I agree with. It was also awful for Bayley, who was yanked from the card in a lame injury angle and missed out on an appearance at WrestleMania. I'm not sure what the behind the scenes was for this, but a lot of people wanted to see Bayley in that match. They wanted to see her at WrestleMania, felt like she deserved a spot, and for Becky Lynch to come in and just kind of take that away, it's kind of crazy, especially the night of. it just didn't. I don't know. It felt really weird at that point. After like you get through half the match and you're realizing what's going on, and now there's really no. They're trying to tie in the Becky Lynch and Liv beef that they had prior. I don't know. It felt really forced at that point. But Becky Lynch and Valkyria defeated Morgan and Rodriguez to win the title. Um, I they gave them a grade B. I don't know if I would have gave them a grade B at that point. I'd probably give it a C plus, maybe a C, a solid C. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't that great as far as what I wanted to see and from the tag team champions for the women's. So let's move on here. Now, the final match, which was the undisputed WWE Championship between Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. The match itself was not disappointing. It was only disappointing when you start to try to involve people who have nothing to do with the business itself. Now I get it. Travis Scott is a world-known rapper, artist, whatever you want to call him. Uh, he's known everywhere. Very big superstar. But my thing is, if we're gonna involve him, you have to also involve The Rock because that's how he got introduced. It was introduced as the three of them. They whooped Cody ass. He gave Cody a black eye. All that stuff is part of the storyline. So now we get to the main event, and up until this point, there has been no sign of The Rock, the final boss. So now we're trying to figure out if he's coming back. He's posting that he's in Hawaii the day before night one, and a lot of people are in those comments saying, "You're not fooling us. We know you're coming. We know you're already here. This is just an old video." Lo and behold, it was an old video. That was very much accurate. So it was kind of weird that it happened the way it did. Like I said, the match was going great in my eyes up until Travis Scott came out. And it kind of messed up the ending of what we wanted to happen or what we expected to happen as well. And also, it just felt non-needed. If we're gonna give John Cena his flowers, we could have just let him beat Cody Rhodes man to man, face to face, as it already was going at that point. So it was kind of weird. They gave it a C. It's not a bad grade, to be honest with you. It's a very fair grade. I would probably just give it a little bit of a bump, a C plus, only because I felt like the match was actually better than a lot of people thought, because John Cena played the heel role very well. He was doing moves that we've never seen him do. He wasn't doing his usual wrestling moves and stuff like that. The entrance wasn't his usual wrestling entrance. It was a lot of things that he changed about himself to kind of sell the heel John Cena. So if you didn't notice it, I can understand why you didn't give it a good grade or why you felt like it wasn't a great match. I felt like it was a good match up until the Travis Scott part. So we really don't got to do too many takeaways and stuff because I kind of broke it down as far as everything that happened. Travis Scott took forever to come out to the ring in the first place too. We're in the mid, like we're at mostly the end of the match at this point, and you hear the same song that's been playing all weekend, probably since last WrestleMania. Fiend, 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 fiend. They need a new song. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in WWE, but y'all got to get some different theme songs for y'all PLEs. Because if you're doing the same exact one from last year, that's an issue. I don't think I've seen that before. If it's happened, I just wasn't paying attention. But this one has been on multiple pay-per-views or PLEs, and it's kind of getting out of hand. It's kind of showing like too much favoritism. You got to give somebody else a chance. Like they got Cardi B doing SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. She's supposed to be hosting SummerSlam coming up, so that's going to be interesting to see. But I don't know. They something with the creative has to get stronger as far as the product that they're delivering, because they go into like a couple of months of great shit, and then it kind of goes downhill when we're getting to like a big PLE, which is weird. Definitely weird to me. But Travis Scott takes 10 minutes to come down to the ring from the Titantron. It takes forever for him to walk down. He's taking his sweet time. So Cody Rhodes has to sit there longer than he probably should. John is sitting there laughing at it. Then they kind of go into this weird segment of him about to help John. John gets pushed away or hit and moves out the way. Now it's supposed to be payback time for Cody Rhodes with Travis Scott. This is the only part I can understand, but I feel like if that was the case, he should have came out there with John Cena. That way it could have made more sense when it was time, because at that point it just felt like we're forcing this now. Cody keeps yelling, I remember, I remember, I remember. And he does hit the he does hit the crossroads on Travis Scott. So that was cool. That was cool to see. It looks like he has been training with somebody to take bumps and everything like that. That was actually interesting. But it didn't have any real substance. After that, the match was over less than 2 minutes later. Like, that's not the ending I felt like anybody really wanted to see. So that was really, really weird for them to end it off like that. But John Cena solidifying himself with that 17th championship. The WWE going along with that and saying that, this is how we're going to make sure you are considered the greatest of all time. You are our GOAT. I can understand that. We applaud that. We wanted that. We wanted to go on the ride, though, as well. And with The Rock not being there, and we're kind of having just Travis Scott linger around, it felt stupid, felt forced a little bit, and it could have been a lot better. It really could have been a lot better. Now, I did see this morning on Pat McAfee's show, The Rock was on there stating that he didn't want to cause any, take the spotlight basically from John and his moment, or Cody Rhodes and their moment together. But bro, you would have enhanced it. You would have heightened that moment at that point. So it was kind of crazy for him to say that. I didn't agree with it. I'm not sure if that was something that, maybe the TKO board actually thought of and was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be involved, or he has some other projects that he's involved in that just kind of didn't cross-reference with the scheduling and everything. But you can't start a storyline as heavy as I want Cody's soul, and then you take John Cena's soul supposedly, and now you're nowhere to be found. We have no actual other build up to what was going on, why this is happening. It just kind of turned into I just want the championship at this point. So it definitely kind of let us down, but overall, I think it was a great night for WrestleMania night 2. Bleacher Report gave it a B minus. I'll give it a B plus. I can understand why they gave it a B minus, but I actually was engaged in every. What was it? What was the only one I didn't? Yeah, I was engaged in every match except for the AJ Styles and Logan Paul one. So it was great for me. I think I really enjoyed the night itself. But I have been watching wrestling since I was 9. I'm 31 now, so it's different. So actually, probably before 9, to be honest with you. But I think it was a great. I give it a B plus. They gave it a B minus, like I said. Just those endings. They got to get better with big PLE endings. We can't keep falling short on those type of things, especially for a WrestleMania of this magnitude. This WrestleMania felt like it had a good amount of juice going into it, but y'all kind of watered it down and just kind of let it go by the wayside more so, in my opinion. But yeah, man, let's go to Raw after WrestleMania. Let's see what we got here. Now, John started off the night, came out with the championship, uh, like around his waist, but the face of the championship was on his back, which has never before been done. He never really does that. Basically came out there, made sure the announcer announced him as the greatest of all time. The 17-time champ is here, which nobody else has done. Blase, blase. He still went on one of his rants, his truth telling rant. I think it's something that he actually feels as well. So he went on his rant, felt how he felt. The best thing about this is that we get a old school beef that we've always loved between him and Randy Orton. Randy Orton appeared from under the ring. You really couldn't see it within the camera, which was I actually appreciated. But he came from under the ring, and you heard the crowd, but you couldn't figure out what was going on. So when he appeared in the camera angle, and you seen that RKO sitting on his chest, it got good. I was expecting maybe a scuffle a little bit, but it was perfect. You heard John try to say something before, as soon as he turned around. Randy Orton cut all that short, RKO'd him. Now we know where we're heading for John Cena. Whatever the next PLE is, I'm not sure which one it is next, but we know where we're heading with John Cena and Randy Orton. Randy Orton deserves another run. I think this is going to be something that a lot of people look forward to and are going to be invested in. So I have no quarrels with that one, or no qualms, shall I say. Lynch and Valkyria versus Rodriguez and Morgan for the rematch. I don't know. I understand why they did it. It's right after WrestleMania. They invoked their rematch clause, and they got the championships back. But then Becky Lynch just went on like a madman run and just started beating the hell out of Lyra. Was very upset, very belligerent to her. Almost had like a what's the word I'm looking for? A temper tantrum. She had a temper tantrum. And it's because they lost the championships. First of all, you really didn't deserve the tag team championships. If anybody did, it would have been Bayley and Lyra, but Becky Lynch really didn't deserve it. She hasn't really been there. It was kind of weird for them to win the championship in the first place, like I said. So wasn't really feeling that whole angle too much. But it was a good moment for Raw after WrestleMania, so I'm not mad at it. Now, the New Day and Rusev Day. That was interesting. I thought that was going to be an actual match between who came out there? I can't ever say his name right. Tazwa? I don't know. I can't never really say his name right. But y'all know he came out there to face Tawaza or Otis. My man Otis. I like Otis. But really was more so for Rusev to come back, so I understand what they was trying to do. I don't know. It was a weird spot, but I was actually interested in it, and it kept my engagement as well. So I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with the New Day. I want Otis to also kind of get more engaged as well, but I don't know, man. Yeah, I can understand that. I could definitely understand that. I can definitely understand that, man. Let me see here. EO and Stephanie. I was shocked that that happened, but I was actually loving it, to be honest. Both of them had tremendous ring attire as well. Their outfit, well, shall I say. And Mommy came out there, and she did what Mommy does. Rhea Ripley came out there, made sure she shut shit down, made sure she let EO know I'm still coming back for that championship too. So I'm very interested to see how to where that goes, to where that rivalry goes, and to see how they're going to implement more NXT people within the Raw and SmackDown brands, because it seems like some of these people are about to start coming up and getting their own. So I'm very interested to see how that's gonna go. Um, they didn't. There wasn't a lot of context to why it happened, so that's why I said I'm interested to see where it goes. Because at a certain point, you got to start telling more stories, and we need more hard hitting narratives around these rivalries. Because if not, a lot of people are going to start losing interest in some of these wrestlers. Jey Uso comes out and he does what I expected him to do at WrestleMania. He parties with the crowd. I was waiting for that after the championship run. I mean, after the championship win, excuse me. Came out, party with the kids. They, eating, all that good stuff. I was happy. But I will say, when Sami Zayn came out, they did it together for like a couple seconds and he jumped down and just stared at him. I was nervous, man. I was so nervous. I didn't know where that was going. I said, no, not him about to turn on my dog. Like, Sammy, you're a fan favorite right now. You just came out, said hi to everybody. Everybody loved you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Luckily, he did not. I think there is going to be something that happens between them. And I think that's why it was the long pause after they celebrated, just because I think they wanted to kind of put something in your mind where as though this may be a rivalry that happens. Sami Zayn may get jealous, feel like he deserves the title, or he doesn't feel like Jay deserves the title. But then Jimmy came out and it kind of calmed everything down. Everybody was like, all right, this is just a celebration more so than anything. So I thought that was cool. They did what I expected them to do. They yeeted all night at that point, yeeted everywhere. Everybody was yeeting. Everybody was yeeting. Now, Dominic Mysterio and Penta. I love Penta. I will say that. Excuse me. I'm very happy that he's in WWE. I think he's a great addition. He's very charismatic, even though we can't understand everything he says, but he talks a good amount, whereas though you want to hear more, shall I say. And his in-ring ability is top-notch. It's really not anything bad you can say about his in-ring ability. Besides maybe timing a little bit. He probably has to get his timing a little bit better, but it's not bad. It's not off or anything like that, in my opinion. So that was an interesting match. We got to see JD McDonough come back at the end. So Judgment Day is in full-fledged, Judgment Day stuff. They doing what they do best. They helping each other win championships. But you can definitely see there's still some beef hindering between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, which I'm all for. I'm a Finn Balor fan, but within the Judgment Day, I think Dominic should be leading. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually interested to see how that's gonna go. Hopefully they do get to a great rivalry point and are able to tell a great story, because there's so much history there. But I'm actually interested to see how that's gonna go. Shout out to JD McDonough for coming back. I know I think he had an injury, if I'm not mistaken, while he was out. So it's good to see him back in the fold. Hopefully he can get some good matches and some good rivalries built up as well before the next PLE. And then the icing on the cake for Raw was what they call, on Bleacher Report, they call it the final word. This was beautiful. I didn't expect this at all. Seth freaking Rollins, Paul Heyman. Good work. Okay? Good work. Paul is a genius, a mastermind, and you can tell that he was behind this creative. Whatever happened on that first night main event and this, he was definitely the creative behind it. And I loved it, to be honest with you. So Seth comes out, talks a little bit, not too much. And then, of course, CM Punk comes out. They start fighting, blase. The fight ensues. They do what they're supposed to do. Seth freaking Rollins knocks him out, gets him out of there. And Paul is, of course, ecstatic. He's happy. Bam. Now, OTC comes out. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes out on a tear. what was it? The Superman punch he hit as soon as he came out, hit a spear. He was on fire. He was literally on fire. He was doing everything you wanted him to do. Ah, you think I can see that? I can see that. I can see that. That's a great point. That's a great point. It did. I definitely think it did make up for the Sunday. It made up for both main events, to be honest. Like the night one main event was great too, but it definitely made up for Sunday's main event. I agree with you on that one. But yeah, man, seeing Braun Breaker come out of nowhere and spear the hell out of Roman Reigns, I didn't expect it. And then he gave him another one through the barricade. I was sold. That was perfect for me. That was everything I wanted to see. But I wasn't sure if they were gonna form an alliance or it was gonna be like the start of a rivalry between Seth and Braun now, and then they're trying to move Braun into the next echelon type shit. They did that perfectly, in my opinion. That's why I say Paul is a genius. Paul Heyman needs more. I don't know how much creative control he got back there, but we need to give him more of the reins than Triple H sometimes, or however many heads that are back there trying to create and make these endings and stuff like that. Because the endings of a lot of the WrestleMania matches is what ruined a lot of the nights. Because a lot of it felt forced. You have a great match, and then up until the last 5 to 10 minutes of some of those matches, or if it's a shorter match, 2 to 5 minutes, you're doing stuff that feels forced. You're doing stuff that's not a great ending, and it's not memorable. The middle of the match should not be the most memorable part, in my opinion. So it was great to see them bounce back with the Raw after WrestleMania and everything that went on. I'm definitely tuned in and locked in to see what Paul Heyman, Seth freaking Rollins, and Braun Breaker are about to cook up, because it's not an alliance that I expected. No one's seen this coming. If you've seen this coming, you're lying. You would be a fool to even say that you did, because I don't think nobody in the back probably seen it coming. So for them, this is going to be interesting. I want to see if CM Punk and Roman Reigns are going to team up again, put their differences aside to try to see if they can stop it. I'm not sure where it's going at all. And then I also seen that some people think John Cena might get involved with them. I don't know. That might be a little bit too much. He has a lot going on right now. I don't know if the final boss may come back. There's a lot of unanswered questions going on from WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania that has to be answered. I just hope that they do it in a way where the storytelling is going to be just as good as the match, or vice versa, because we're kind of hit and missing on some of these. We're hitting and missing. So, drop in the comments, man, how y'all felt about night one, night two. What you guys give some of the grades and of those matches, and what your thoughts is. I see a couple people drop some comments already, so I definitely appreciate y'all. Shout out to y'all as well in the comments, and those who watching now. But yeah, man, I think Raw after WrestleMania saved WWE a great amount. Let's hope SmackDown does the same thing. And I also want to see what happens with NXT superstars. What are they going to do with the next wave of NXT superstars at this point? I agree. Because at this point, if you're going to involve yourself and create a storyline like The Rock did, you can't just disappear. You can't disappear into the abyss, not come back at all. Don't give an explanation until after the fact on Pat McAfee show. Like, you could have did that in the ring, man. Like, I felt like he should have been there night two instead of Travis Scott. We didn't need Travis Scott. Travis Scott could have did a performance, and I would have liked that better, to be honest. So I'm not sure where they're gonna go with that, but I definitely agree with that sentiment and that comment. Rock can stay as the TKO board member. You know what I'm saying? Went from milking that company. No, that's funny. But yeah, he can stay a TKO board member at this point right now. And unless we gonna get Stone Cold back or Triple H back in the ring, stay out the ring, Rock. You kind of no, actually, come back, face Roman, give us what we want, and then you can disappear. You versus your cousin, disappear after that, we're good to go. That's what all of us are waiting for at this point, anyways. We just need to see you versus Roman, and we can get out of here. You can retire, continue to do movies, voiceovers, all that good junk. But just don't keep ruining storylines or creating storylines and not finishing them. That's the worst part about it as a WWE fan. And it's like you hear their excuses or their reasoning behind what they're doing, and it don't make sense. It really doesn't. So, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Drop in the comments how y'all feel. Let me know what y'all was thinking. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well out there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Mr. Lonely Stoner, Mr. Watch How I Do It. Talk to y'all later, man. Peace.